So here we are on Sunday. I woke up this morning still carrying some of the weight from the past 2 days. I wasn't expecting sudden clarity. I was half prepared for more of the same silence I had felt on Saturday. But something had already begun to shift. Not in a loud or dramatic way, just small quiet movements that didn't depend on my constant pushing or my energy to keep everything alive. And that felt different, almost surprising in its gentleness. I've been sitting with that subtle shift lately in my own situation, the same one that felt so heavy on Friday and so still on Saturday. It hasn't suddenly become perfect or resolved, but parts of it are starting to breathe on their own. Structure is forming in places I wasn't constantly holding up, and conversations are happening that I didn't have to chase after or even manufacture. It's not the big comeback story I had written in my head during the long wait. It's quieter, slower, more real than anything I could have forced with my own strength. This is teaching me something important about how new life often arrives. Sometimes, the bravest and most faithful thing we do is stop carrying what was never meant to rest entirely on our shoulders. When we loosen our grip just enough, we create space for whatever is actually alive to stand and grow in its own time. The fear I carried on Saturday, that quiet worry that if I finally let go, nothing would ever move again, it still visits me on some days. But I'm learning that real resurrection in our lives rarely looks exactly like the version we imagined or prayed for. It often shows up in the ordinary moments we almost miss because we're still looking for something loud and obvious to prove it's real. This is where the Easter story feels especially grounded and honest for me right now. After the long silence of Saturday, the women went to the tomb expecting to find a dead body and finish the burial rituals. Instead, they discovered the stone had already been rolled away and the tomb was empty. Jesus. Something had moved without them. Literally, Jesus. New life had begun. Not because they pushed harder or figured out the right words to pray, but simply because it was time. I've also been sitting with the story of the two disciples on the road to Emmaus in Luke 24. They were walking away from Jerusalem, their hearts heavy with grief and confusion, talking about everything that happened. Jesus came alongside them, but they didn't recognize him. They poured out their disappointment, their shattered hopes. Only later, when he broke bread with them, did their eyes open and their hearts burn within them. That story has been speaking to me heavy. Sometimes, Jesus is walking with us in the middle of our confusion and our sorrow, and we don't even see it yet. The recognition comes quietly in ordinary moments, a conversation or a meal or a small shift we almost miss. And then there's this line in 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17 that keeps returning to me. If anyone is in Christ, listen to this now. If anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old creation has gone and the new is here. Let me run this back for you guys. If anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, and the new is here. It doesn't say the new creation arrives with instant transformation. It simply says it has come. The old is passing, and the new is here, even if we can't see the full picture yet. That truth lands differently when you've lived through your own Friday and Saturday. So if you're still sitting somewhere in the middle of your own story, if things still feel low, unclear, or unfinished, even after hoping and waiting, please hear this gently today. You're not alone. You're not behind. You're right on time for whatever is being formed in you and around you. Some things genuinely need the long Saturday silence to take root and grow. Because formation is almost always quiet at first. It's unseen and it's patient. But boy, when it starts moving without you forcing every single step, that's when you begin to recognize that something real and lasting is happening. The invitation this Sunday isn't to pretend that everything is suddenly fixed or that all the questions have disappeared. It's simply to keep showing up with open hands while learning to stop carrying alone what was never meant to rest entirely on your shoulders. Pay attention today to what is already moving, even if it's small and easy to overlook. Pay attention to where life is beginning to breathe on its own without your constant effort to make it happen. Because sometimes the most powerful kind of resurrection isn't loud or dramatic. It's the quiet kind that happens when we finally make room for it, when we trust God can work in the hidden places long before we can see the full picture. This weekend, we've sat together in the wait of Friday. We have wrestled through the long silence of Saturday, and now we're stepping into Sunday's gentle hope. Wherever you are in your own story right now, whether it's still waiting in the quiet or beginning to notice small movements, you're not alone, and I can guarantee you that. And maybe, just maybe, the same quiet hope the women met at the tomb is already moving in small ways in our own stories too. A happy Easter to all of you out there. Take care.